There are bad losses, and then there's losing at home to the team with the third worst record in the NBA while you're in a playoff push. But that's what the Pels did last night. Now they got the second of a back-to-back tonight in Dallas, which is where we find Andrew Lopez, ESPN.com Pelicans reporter, is good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. How are you, dude?
I'm great, man. I can't say that I've ever had Barbie Girl intro me into a radio hit before, so that was new. I appreciate that.
We're groundbreaking radio over here, Andrew. It's what we do. We try to find ways to be different and creative, unlike anyone in the history of radio has ever done, especially sports talk radio. So that's why we play Barbie Girl. Actually, I just was trying to make fun of Musso because he wouldn't pick a song. So I was like, hey, it's Barbie Girl. That's what you're doing. So you heard me describe last night's loss. Am I overreacting? That's bad, right? That's really bad.
No, I was thinking about it it's easy to say that it was the worst loss of the season, especially when you were in the moment. I understand that from a lot of angry Pels fans, but going back and thinking about it, I think it's probably the second worst loss of the season. The only one that I think was probably worse was the Golden State loss, although it was at Golden State, but that was after you had beat Minnesota to snap that 13-game win streak. You were trying to find your footing, and then you lose a game like that. But considering everything, it could very well be the worst loss of the season because it was a game you were absolutely expected to win. You were a double-digit favorite last night at home, and I know a lot of Pels fans that they like to go to we always play down to our competition. You had beaten 14 out of 15 teams under 500. The only one you didn't beat was the San Antonio Spurs at home when it was Zion's first game, when your rotations were a little bit screwed up that night.
Mm-hmm.
You had been handling business. That's what makes this one kind of so mind-boggling was they went in acting like they could just cakewalk, and then when a team like that gets hot, it's hard to slow them down, and that's what they found out last night.
Why are they so bad on defense?
Last night, that's another thing. They had been good. They had been very good on defense. Last night, they changed. They went back to some of their old ways. They were up on pick and rolls, and when they go up on pick and rolls, it allows the back cut to come through. You saw it was a ridiculous amount of back cuts for an NBA team. You're not supposed to do I want to see that. I want to go see Catholic and Jesuit play in high school. That's where I'm going to see back cuts all day. I'm not going to see.
Hey, it's effective, all right. So shut up.
Hey, am I wrong? Or
no, you're right.
That's
you're right.
Back cut. So that's where we're at, and it was amazing. But it's because they went up on the pick and roll guy. What they had done so well is they had dropped the big, and they just didn't do that last night, and it allowed Minnesota to stay hot. The one thing Minnesota could do since they made this trade and overhauled their roster is score the basketball. They had been putting up 120, 130. You still had multiple shots because you thought the Pels were bad on defense.
Yeah.
They were worse. The problem is you didn't hit your shots. There was 4 or 5 open corner threes you missed in the fourth quarter. You were missing point-blank stuff at the rim. You had bad stretches of offense in a game where you should have had easy 145, and it just cost you at the wrong time.
Andrew Lopez is our guest Pelicans reporter for ESPN.com, on Twitter @Andrew_Lopez. Give him a follow. He's in Dallas. But the big story tonight now is, all right, Zion's going to play a back-to-back for the first time in his career. So, should there be any reservation here?
I don't think so because of how he has looked. And you got a small taste of him playing back-to-backs when he played in the Rising Stars game, but everybody knows that wasn't a real game. It was just an exhibition. It was just like going to practice the next day. But it did show the faith that the team had in him to be able to even do that, because I didn't even think that was going to happen at the start of the season. But one thing that has played in their favor is he didn't debut until January 22nd because of the All-Star break, because of scheduling being favorable. They played 6 weeks ago today. They went 6 weeks without having a back-to-back to play. If this was a situation where it was 2 weeks after he plays, I don't think he plays. If it's even 3 or 4 weeks, I don't think he plays. But because you're 6 weeks in, he's been responding well. He hasn't had any problem with the knee. I think you can look at it and say, you know what? we're okay with him playing. You saw he played his normal minutes last night. He played 32 minutes, the fifth most he had played all year. Ideally, would they have liked to have played him 26, 27 last night because they were going to come away with a win? Yeah, they would have liked that, but they didn't. So will we see any sort of restriction tonight? That remains to be seen. I tried to talk to some people behind the scenes. Nobody is really giving a sense of how many minutes he will play if he will not play his normal minutes. They don't want the other team to have any sort of idea. So where we're at with it right now is he is going to play. I would expect him to play close to his normal minutes. But any restrictions we won't know until the game itself actually starts.
It's a late tip tonight, 8:30 Central Time. It is an ESPN nationally televised game. Pels and Mavericks from Dallas. Of course, if you're in New Orleans, you could listen to it on our New Orleans affiliate, 100.3 ESPN New Orleans. In the 6 weeks that you mentioned with Zion, and this might be a nuanced answer because you're there every day. How much has Zion changed from game one to now? Maybe something that wouldn't even be noticeable to me or just the average Joe fan watching.
When you see, to me, the biggest thing is the counter moves that he has and how quick he has developed counter moves. You usually don't see that a lot with a player. You know, it takes time for them to say, you know, they'll have their one move as a 19-year-old, and that's the move they're going to go to. And if it's not there, well, he's screwed. He's not that guy. He's going to he developed a counter. I remember, I think he used it on Trevor Ariza in the first Portland game back home. That was ridiculous. I didn't see it coming, and Trevor Ariza didn't see it coming. So the fact that he's able to process that early on, the one thing you'd still like to see him is improve on the turnovers. He's got to learn when he's putting it on the floor, he's got to be able to either going up to the rim or being ready to make a pass. He doesn't have time to get 3-4 dribbles in. So once he figures that out, it'll be okay. But that's kind of where he's grown the most, is on the offensive end, is being able to recognize where he has been where he's messed up and being able to fix it. You just look at the Laker game. Obviously, Anthony Davis wasn't there, so you didn't have a 7-footer on him with a 7-footer behind him. But he was 8 of 18 in the first Laker game. He went 12 of 16 in the second one. He's finding ways that if a team says, hey, you're not doing this, okay, well, what can I do? And he still manages to get 20 points a night.
It's been an awful lot of fun to watch offensively. There's no question. Tonight, how do they match up with Dallas?
It's a tough one. This is why you really needed that matchup against Minnesota last night. It was one of those ones that you penciled in probably as a W, and now it's not. So the way you got to go about it, it's going to be a tough Dallas team. You got to see what they do in terms of rest. They've been resting a lot of guys as well. But there's a reason that, you know, Dallas is where they are and where you are right now. So obviously there's Luka. Obviously there's KP, who's been playing out of his mind right now. Luka had a lot of success early on, but it's looking like, you know, they probably won't have Seth. They probably won't have Willie Cauley-Stein. Those guys are out, but everybody else should be there. And it looks like it should be a Mavericks win, but, you know, we'll see how it goes.
Last thing for you is, if you had to guess today, do the Pelicans make the playoffs?
I'm going to stick with my prediction from right before the All-Star break. I say no, but that because I like Portland. Portland has since tailed off, but it's just getting a lot. When they were at 2.5 games last week, I felt a lot better about their chances. Their last 15 games line up great, but if you don't get through this stretch and you're still 5 back with 15 to play, that's going to be really, really hard to make up.
He is Andrew Lopez on Twitter @Andrew_Lopez. Pels are a 6-point dog tonight in Dallas. 8:30 tip. Of course, you can read about it at ESPN.com. Make sure you're following Andrew on Twitter. Thanks as always, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.